mean, I think President Obama is clearly very concerned about the possibility of President Biden losing this election. Right now, Donald Trump would be the slight favourite to win, although it will clearly be a close election. And frankly, President Biden has some difficulty in creating any sense of inspiration or excitement with the Democratic base. And that's something that President Obama is very well positioned to do.
In the United States of America, Joe Biden has appeared alongside his fellow Democrat colleagues, former President Barack Obama and Bill Clinton.
Ladies and gentlemen, the presidents of the United States. Go vote!
Well, that fundraiser event in New York was moderated by the American talk show host Stephen Colbert. Let's get more on this now from Niall Stanage, who is a White House columnist at The Hill and is covering the 2024 campaign. Niall, a appearance by three Democratic presidents, not really surprising in itself, is it?
It's not surprising in itself, but the amount that was raised is, I suppose, the headline out of this, where they estimate that $25 million was raised in this one night. Assuming that claim is true and proves to be verified, that will, I believe, be the biggest single-day fundraising event in political history. But you're quite right. The appearance of Presidents Biden, Obama and Clinton together is not a huge shock in and of itself.
Are we seeing, though, perhaps a renewed warmth between Barack Obama and President Biden?
Well, a warmth born of necessity, perhaps. I mean, I think President Obama is clearly very concerned about the possibility of President Biden losing this election. Right now, Donald Trump would be the slight favourite to win, although it will clearly be a close election. And frankly, President Biden has some difficulty in creating any sense of inspiration or excitement with the Democratic base. And that's something that President Obama is very well positioned to do.
Who's doing best in terms of raising funds, Biden or Trump?
Biden is doing better by a significant margin. Now, part of the reason for that is Trump is dividing his various efforts in different ways that sometimes enable donors to ultimately pay his legal fees. But at the about a month ago, Biden's cash on hand in the actual campaign was about twice as large as Trump's, roughly 70 million for Biden, slightly under 35 million for Trump.
And that's going to count, is it? I mean, do you think that could be what swings this presidential contest?
It can count in the sense that it, for example, allows the Biden campaign to advertise more widely at an early point to try to fix negative perceptions of former President Trump in voters' minds. The caveat I would put on it is there are all these outside groups that supposedly do not coordinate with campaigns but can spend money in support of someone's candidacy. I would expect the spending of that nature to favour Trump over Biden, so that might neutralise Biden's advantage in direct fundraising.
And in this election contest, we've got the two frontrunners emerging very early in the year, really, compared to previous campaigns. So what can we expect to happen from here on in?
I expect, honestly, that it'll be a rather grim march to November. Neither of these candidates is particularly popular for different reasons, obviously. I mean, Trump's record, we hardly need to relitigate here. The age question for Biden is a problem. So I would expect this to be an extremely negative campaign. Sadly, I would expect there to be a fair amount of disinformation around. And there is, of course, another issue that creates volatility, which is the presence of a number of other candidates, most prominently Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's currently polling at around 10%.
And any idea where he's taking votes from? Because initially it was said that he was probably damaging Republican votes for Trump more than the Democrats.
Yeah, it's actually a really fascinating and somewhat complicated question. It seems in the polls that Trump's edge over Biden increases when Kennedy is listed as a candidate. In other words, when people are asked about the three-person race, Trump tends to lead by a point or two more than if people are just asked Trump versus Biden. But it is complicated, not least because cutting against that poll finding, Republicans have a higher opinion of Kennedy than Democrats do, and that is seen in poll after poll. So that's a real thing to watch in this year's campaign, because no one's fully sure how it plays out.
Niall Stanage, White House columnist for The Hill, thank you very much indeed.
I think it's important to find somebody who's, like myself, outside of the system, because I think the people within that system have brought us the national debt. The system has a way of normalizing these atrocities. You know. Liddy, come here. Dilla. Come here. Well, I mean, the challenge is, I think we do that by getting to a place where people believe that it's possible for me to win. And, you know, I think the headwind that we're facing is that the function of the mainstream media has been to reinforce those fears, to pump up those fears on both sides. You know, I get to hike in this wilderness every day, so it's pretty cool. It's pretty, it's awesome. It's really magical to be this close. I didn't want to move. 2024, the Democratic Party has radically changed. I don't think my father, my uncle would ever recognize it. It's become the party of war. It's become the party of Wall Street. It's become the party of censorship. It's become the party of big pharma. It's become the party of the wealthy elites against the middle class, and is derisive and contemptuous toward middle class Americans. I was raised in a milieu where we came home every night and we debated with each other, and we had very, very passionate debates, but we were still able to love each other. And I wish the same thing for our country, that we could get along with each other. We can disagree about things and still get along. You know, my family has a long history with Joe Biden. Joe Biden has a bust of my father behind him at the Oval Office. There are 5 members of my family who work for the Biden administration or directly with the Biden administration. There are many, many others who are running NGOs that have relationships with the government. And I understand that my candidacy, my challenge of President Biden is troubling to them. I don't begrudge them their right to disagree with it.